If you don't mind. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm not sure who our counselor is, but I will send him a text message here in a moment. Today is Monday, August 3rd, 2020, the time being 5 p.m. The meeting of the Greensburg Board of Works is called to order. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table at the back of the room. Per the governor's directive, we are all wearing masks today, so if you are speaking, please eat your microphone, and if you're presenting, you may remove it while at the podium per the order as well. And with that, Brenda, would you please call the roll?
Jamie Kane.
Here.
Lynn Tebby.
Here.
Rodney King.
Here.
Karen Rust.
Here.
You all have a copy of the updated minutes from July 6th. Are there any additional corrections or amendments to those? If not, we take a motion to approve those.
I would move approval of the minutes of July 6th.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Okay. And then you also have executive session from July 20th as well.
Thank you.
22nd.
There's a correction on this that's written here in front of us. It needs to be
The one at the bottom,
for police, yeah.
yes, it's been changed, and the one you sign will say Greensburg Police Department.
Move approval that,
Okay.
with that correction or change.
Second.
Seconded by Jamie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Those are approved as well. Chief Stoermer has provided you a copy of the updated fire chief job description. Any further discussion on that?
I appreciate getting the written description, and the thing is, as we agree, the only thing that I would recommend is it says date revised. I think it says March 2020. I think we need, if we're going to officially approve it, which is what we're doing at this meeting, it should say August 2020. Unless my colleagues say differently.
That's just when this process started.
Correct. So with that modification, I would see no reason other than say move approval of revised job description for chief of the department for the fire department.
Second by D. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Chief Bridges, selection of a new hire.
Good evening. I'm here to get the recommendation from the Board of Works on the new hire from the interviews that are made.
Any
Do we
further?
need to say specific?
Was number
3.
1 and 3?
3.
1 and 3.
We were gonna make a conditional offer to candidate 3.
Yes.
right? And then, I don't know how we wanted to word that for candidate 1. Our next
Or
available
candidate-
position.
No, number 3 was
Yeah, that's what that,
Yes.
a conditional offer for now. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Then, number 1, I think, the next available position, I think, that's what we discussed, we would make a conditional offer
Correct.
to candidate 1.
Correct.
So I'll make that motion.
Okay. Number 3, immediately, conditionally. Number 1, the next available position, conditionally. Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by D. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Next topic.
Next thing is I sent everybody an email in reference to the request from one of my employees on time off. Like I said, she's a hard-working employee, definitely an asset to the department and everything, so I'm recommending that we give this request. I know her and Mrs. Navi have been communicating on what that looks like when it's time for her to leave. So, but I think, like I said, I think it would definitely be a good move to retain through this.
So we're approving to take unpaid leave until she qualifies for FMLA, which should be during that leave, correct?
Is that a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'm second.
Second by Glenn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay,
Thank
much.
you.
Brenda, discussion on a couple items.
I swear it won't take this long, I just need to get my paperwork ready. Good evening. At the recommendation of the State Board of Accounts, we are one of very few cities in the state of Indiana who pay on a weekly basis. At the recommendation of the State Board of Accounts, who is now auditing our city, they recommended that we change our weekly payroll to a biweekly payroll. So to be able to present that to the council in the next meeting, we need to amend the handbook on the pretense that the council is going to approve a biweekly payroll. So you were sent the wording. It's simply in the handbook for the different departments, that where it had said all employees are paid weekly on Friday, it would be all employees are paid bi-weekly on Friday.
So I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am?
Are you just asking for the change in the book or to change to bi-weekly?
Okay, the council will set the ruling as to whether we are allowed to change to bi-weekly. You are simply approving the handbook, that if that improvement is met, then we can't do the payroll bi-weekly unless the handbook says that. Your meeting is before the council, so therefore we have to have your approval so that we can go with it if the council
What
approves.
if we approve the change to the handbook and they don't approve the
It
change?
would be on condition. You're actually doing a conditional motion. That if the council says yes, then you approve the handbook change. And of course, if they say nay, then the handbook will not be changed. And I have Julie here with me because, Julie, would you like to step up, please? If you have any questions, Julie is, of course, our payroll processor for the city.
I've got a question. On the one hand, on the other hand, I know we've done this before when we were really relatively sure of the change. I think that the ordinance governs when you pay and not the handbook. The handbook kind of implements what ordinances are saying or what policy is. So I think we're getting the cart before the horse here. They may be making a change, but they may not be making this change in a phased-in approach. They may be making it on a delayed basis. I don't know how they're going to be making it yet. If we're making, I don't see the urgency of us changing the handbook until we know what the council's decision is. That's my thought. I mean, I know we can do it on a conditional basis, but
There could be other conditions that still need to edit this, and we can come back.
yeah, we may need to make other arrangements along the way.
Reading Financial, they were the ones that said that the handbook would have to be changed at the same time or before in order for the ordinance, because the ordinance is what actually has to be changed at
Right.
the council.
Right.
So we were just going by what Reedy had said. They recommended that the handbook be changed either the same night or before the council would approve an ordinance change.
We'd have the first reading tonight, so Glenn, we could actually, we'd have probably a better idea next month. And this wouldn't take 2 readings from the Board of Works to
No.
approve, right? So
No.
if we waited till next month, we'd still have to approve it next month as a council anyway, right? So it's gonna go through 2 readings.
What is your goal, your timeline for wanting to implement this? What's
August
the
the
earliest?
2nd. I mean, excuse me, October the 2nd?
October the 2nd.
Yes,
So then we do have time
yes.
to make that modification.
And the reason October instead of at a year-end change is because of 1099s and W-2s and New Year changes. And Reedy suggested if we do it at the last quarter, we would be phased in and everything would be going.
I just think we'll put you on time constraint.
Right, and that's what Reedy was hoping to do with getting, making the suggestion of all the things passing.
Okay.
Okay? So we can do it, that's not a problem. I mean, we can.
So it sounds like we could delay this to next month, wait to hear the council's first reading.
Is there a cost benefit to the city for doing it every 2 weeks versus weekly?
Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Is there a
Jim.
cost benefit to the city for running payroll?
Absolutely,
Yeah, that's what
absolutely.
I would think there's a significant
Uh,
time savings.
If nothing else, Julie's time.
Yeah,
Right.
by the time I get payroll done, I'm having to start all over again the very next week, so it would free me up quite a bit to work on more HR items and onboarding and offboarding employees and things like that, so.
The State Board of Accounts, to quote what she said, there is less chance of error and other things going wrong on a biweekly payroll, because when the State Board of Accounts comes in, they do not look at every employee's every week payroll. It's overwhelming to them. So the reason for the State Board of Accounts recommendation is it helps them in their auditing. Okay.
I can see the cost advantage, and I can see why there's other advantages to it. I just think that, let's see how the council wants to proceed, and we do have time
Okay.
to delay it.
So do we need a motion to table
Well,
it?
it's never been moved for the motion to begin with, but yeah, I could say, I would move the table it and table this request.
Yes.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, Brenda.
We are requesting a draw on the OCRA grant, and Tara is here from ARA to discuss that with us.
So we are going to be drawing down $197,000 of the total $250,000 of the COVID-19 Immediate Response Small Business Grant. So those have already been paid out, and now this is just allowing us to be reimbursed for all that money that was spent.
Any questions on the grant? It's been well received. We've given out the checks in that amount already to small businesses throughout the community. And we probably have just about all of the money that's left in applications filed. So next month, you should have a claim for the remaining $53,000 to go out.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Thank you, Tara. Okay, Jeff Smith. Good evening.
Good evening. I got several things on the agenda tonight. First on the agenda is the contract for C&H on the plant wastewater treatment upgrades. They're on the mayor's desk up there.
Would you like to review them?
It's all that includes all the specifications and everything else for the plant. We received approval from the SRF at IDM that the contracts, everything met with their approval, so we can use our SRF money. So what I would like is your approval that the mayor can go ahead and sign that contract for construction.
And maybe all your.
Yeah, everything was there, yes.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Okay, also in that contract, there's a notice to proceed, and I would like your approval to let the mayor sign the notice to proceed with tomorrow's date as the start date of the contractor. We've already had a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, he's ready to go. We should have substantial completion by the November 30th and final completion by December 30th. He's already hit the ground running on this. It's not a real big project, but the main part was he has to paint a digester lid, sandblast and paint it. He wants to get that started as quick as possible before the weather changes. So if you would, I'd like to be able to go ahead and have the mayor sign the notice to proceed also.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Last month, we had approved the money for ARA to do the Davis-Bacon related activities for labor standards for the plant. I have an agreement here for the mayor to sign that he's reviewed it. Karen's right here, she can explain anything you want to know about it.
Do you have any questions about the labor standards for this project?
Pretty standard.
Yeah, we had a copy of this with review, so I don't see.
Here, I'll just get all your signatures after the meeting that they approve everything.
Is there a motion to approve
I
that?
would approval of the agreement for the mayor to sign the agreement of the ARA.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
Next up is I got a change order for Dave O'Meara on the Cass Creek Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project. You should have a copy in your packets. We had some adds and some deducts. It came out to a total of an add of $3,624. We added a two-way clean out on a sewer lateral we agreed to put in on that line. And we also had a line that runs up by Circle K in the alley on north side of Circle K. We videoed it, it had a brick in it. So we got the brick out, and had to put a manhole to get the brick out, so we get it out the other way. Then they went ahead and re-videoed 320 feet to see what that line looked like, make sure there wasn't anything else we needed to do on that. So eventually we may have to line that, but I do have a change order for that. And the change order is $3,624.
Any reason we wouldn't want to do this, guys?
I hope so.
Motion to approve the payout to the mayor.
Move approval, change order number 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Much.
Okay. Last one. Okay, we have completed installing the main line sewer on Cass Creek is done. They came in today and did finished their testing. Just gone ahead and tested out with manual. Manual, you pull basically a cylinder through the line, make sure it's not egged anywhere. We videoed the line, and then they also pressure tested, and everything went real well. The amount this amount for the pay act is $114,606.58.
Pocket change.
I'm not spending money on it.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Okay. Well, that was an expensive 10 minutes. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, I'll catch you after the meeting, Mayor.
Okay, Ron, request for new water and disposal.
Good evening. I have in my office an engineering size plotter that is also a scanner and a copier. I don't know the age of the plotter, but as best I can figure out, it was here when I started. I'm thinking it's 10, maybe 12 years old. It is actually a production machine. We don't use it that way, so it sits around and the ink dries out in it. It's an inkjet plotter. We had it worked on a few years back, and it's not operational at the moment. I had budgeted $4,500 for repairs to it. When it was purchased, I think it was probably in the neighborhood of $15,000 piece of equipment. I don't know why, but for some reason I looked at replacement machines because I really didn't intend to replace it. But I've discovered that there is an HP white format plotter available. The HP price on that machine is $59.95, I think. I have identified a different source that would sell it for $5,450. And I also have discovered that there is potentially a $650 trade-in on what we have. So if that all comes together right, that would be around $4,800 to replace it. It is a multi-function machine, scanner, copier, and plotter. I believe the HP product is less sensitive to idle time. That's kind of the issue that we have, is it may go weeks without use or longer. And the GoSay that we now have doesn't like that.
Have you had the opportunity to look at this one?
I have not seen it in the flesh, plastic. I have always had good luck with HP printers, and I have read reviews. The only negative review I have seen is that one person had trouble with the software, not with the plotter itself. So I'm optimistic that it'll do what we need for it to do.
What would be the warranty?
I believe 3 years.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
That's not I think I read that somewhere. That was a
Okay.
3-year warranty. I would actually ask for your approval of an expenditure of up to $6,000, just in case the one I found falls through, and we know we can buy it directly from HP for that price.
Is this in the budget?
I have the money in my budget for the repairs, so moving that over to the capital purchase and a little bit more from some other place in the budget, we can get it. I can pay for it out of the budget, yes, with the approval of council for the transfer.
So you do need it to actually do the, I'm not sure I'm saying this correctly from what you said. It's production printer, you said.
The old one was designed for people that ran
Right.
multiple prints daily.
This one will not have that same
I don't think
difficulty.
nearly as bad. We need to discipline ourselves to use it on a regular basis, once or twice a month. Doesn't enough to keep things flowing through it. The good thing about HP is they've been in the inkjet business kind of from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I believe with the HP, the one we have now has a pump and a whole bunch of stuff, and that's where the ink dries out, is in that pump. I think this machine is just replacing the ink cartridge. If it dries up, then you're good to go.
So, yeah, this, and it probably was purchased 10 years ago, let's say, maybe, yeah,
I would think that.
maybe longer than that.
I think it's pretty much first started.
Yeah, I would think it would have been back in, so
I've
probably
been here not quite 5.5 years, and it wasn't new.
No, I
When I
think your
started.
predecessor purchased.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was purchased when we came, I think, roughly shortly thereafter.
How often do you need to print something at this scale?
Interestingly enough, the scanner might be more valuable to us than the plotter printer. We get electronic drawing fairly regularly anymore, and the ability to plot full-size sheets is helpful to us. It's easier to review stuff on a full-size print. Back when we were working on Lincoln Street, the south end of Lincoln Street, we were plotting daily. We go through periods where we don't have that need, but then later on, we get involved in something we were doing in-house, the design for a private park project, and we would use it right now if it were operational. So it's not uniform, it used to be. The scanner, I think we would use a lot of in the ability to plot drawings in the road to planning office.
I would recommend that we purchase the engineering size plotter, not to exceed $6,000.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now the conversation about the other.
The other part of the request is for the disposal of the current plotter. I recommend to you that we seek to trade it in and recapture that $650. If for some reason that doesn't work, then we simply dispose of it. I don't think it has, if we can't trade it in, I don't think there's a market for disposal.
Motion made.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
You all have your claims that have been presented to you. Any questions? If not, then take a motion to accept those as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
Those, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, before we adjourn, I do want to mention, I know the police chief sent out a press release right before the meeting started, but as most of you probably seen, we did have a armed robbery in town, and I wanted to commend Officer Mitch Tuttle and our canine dog Hercules, which is the newest addition to the fleet, correct? And is a tracking dog.
Yes.
He was very helpful in that, along with the Cato County Sheriffs and 911. I know they all worked well together, and everything turned out okay, I think, so far. So just wanted to give them a public shout out for that. Anything else to come before the board?
We have a couple things here, like the inclusion card and strategic plan. Was there any?
No, I just given you the hard copies for that, and then I was gonna send you an email since it wasn't on the agenda. That's a finalized inclusion part piece, and that will be sent out with the grants that I'll be starting to work on this week. So I just want everybody to have that, since it's typically a city project also.
Remind me, is this going out at Rebecca Park?
Yes.
Good project.
Anything else? We take a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Nobody's in favor of these tonight. Is there a second?
You bet.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. See everybody next month.
I have a couple papers